Hey guys, and welcome to episode 3. Victor and Roman here. We're going to get right into it. Our first topic of discussion is going to be... Which one are we doing? The compatibility one?
The first one we're doing
is... Is backwards compatibility gaming important? And if not, what can be changed to make people play compatibility style games?
Yeah,
or backwards compatibility.
And this all comes from Xbox's big push into back compat. Specifically now, they've been doing 360 games for a while now. And they have,
really?
I think, over 100, even more.
Are they really going full throttle with it though?
And it's free. That's the amazing part. They are all free as long as you already own them, right? So if you had the disc, if you bought it on the 360, it's free for you now. All you do is you take your 360 disc, put it into Xbox One, and you have the game on your Xbox One.
I didn't know that.
Literally that easy.
I didn't know that.
It's freaking awesome. As far as how it works, it's totally seamless. It works great. Sony's is a little bit different, where the games.
So the Xbox One games that you get free on Gold 360 that you can download, can you play those? Can you download and play those through the Xbox One?
Yeah. You can play this on the Xbox One, but also in like a lot of the games that are not on that Xbox Gold, just regular games that you have on your 360.
Yeah, that you
just put the disc in. Yeah, whereas Sony's works a little bit different. What Sony does is the games that you already own, they have you go to the Sony store and repurchase them.
Like actual
with real money. And you have to pay again. So the game you basically have to buy the game twice.
Well, what if you don't own the game? Can you just then still
buy it? You could buy it again.
Oh, so then basically you don't need to own the game. It's just you can buy.
Yeah. So it kind of works the same way with obviously the Xbox version. If you wanted to play the game, you just go to Amazon and you buy it, right?
Right.
So it kind of the Xbox version has kind of I think both worlds where you could either buy the game or you just get it for free. Whereas the Sony's world is you gotta buy the game, and that's the only option you have. So even if you own it, you gotta shell out the money to buy it again.
Yeah.
But specifically, what I want to talk about was the Xbox side, only because I know the Sony side isn't getting that much traction, just because who wants to buy a game again, right? If you played a game before, what incentive do you have to rebuy it again if you already own it?
Yeah.
And on the Xbox side, even though it's free, I wonder how many people actually go back and play old games.
That's what I was thinking.
Like, you've obviously never done it because you didn't know it really existed.
I've not in this current generation. The previous generation, like in PlayStation 3, I would more often play PlayStation 2 games in that sense, but it seems like in this latest generation, I can't even recall. The only game that I think I revisited was Red Dead Redemption 1, and I played it on an Xbox One, 360 game, only because in preparation of Red Dead Redemption 2. So other than that, yeah, I really don't care too much.
So you did go back.
Well,
you did backwards compatible game.
Well, yeah, I mean in that sense, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, and you beat the whole game on Xbox One?
Oh no! I'm in it maybe like 2 hours at the most.
What made you want to go back to it?
Because
what was the incentive that drew you in to put that game into your Xbox One?
Well, two things. One, like I said, Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to come out, so I just kind of wanted to revisit it, not really with the intention of beating and playing the whole thing over again, but just revisiting it. And two, my friend actually gave me the copy. He had an extra one, so I was when I first heard that Red Dead 2 was breaking, first heard the news, I was like, oh man. Told him about it. He's like, oh well, I have a copy that I can give to you, and then you can play it. And I was like, well, hell, why not? So really, access to the game, and then just wanted to rekindle the flame before Part 2 comes out.
I still don't get it, and here's why. What about, like, say for instance, Far Cry 4 is coming out. Are you gonna go and play Far Cry 3?
You mean Far Cry 5 is coming?
Well, whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Far Cry 5.
No, because I just wouldn't do it because they're both in the same generation of games. I don't know.
No, Far Cry 3 was the last generation. It was Far Cry 4 and Primal this gen, and Far Cry 5. But Far Cry 3 was last gen, so it's kind of the same thing. But why? So that's
wait. What game are you saying? What game are you saying I should go revisit if I'm going to play?
Far Cry 3.
When Far Cry 5 comes out.
Yeah, like would you? I'm not saying that you should, but would you?
No.
Yeah, I won't either.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't. It's too close to gen. I think when I hear backwards compatibility, I hear like going way back, like maybe 2 or 3 games prior.
Dude, I have some good news for you.
Why?
Because now Xbox is not only going to
Oh,
play 360 games, they're also adding the original Xbox.
Oh my god, really?
How crazy is that?
Dude, they're really pushing for. Why don't
They are really pushing. And again, like the whole thing is free.
That's
How
crazy.
That's amazing, right? But
Yeah.
so here's the thing, though. I wonder how many people take advantage of this because I've known about this for a really long time.
Yeah.
And you know how many backwards compatible games I've went back to play? One.
Which one?
Fallout 3. I played for about maybe 10 minutes and I realized it was just not a good game. I mean, at this point, right? It was great back when it came out. At this point, I'm like, I don't want to play
I think the thing that happens, from my experience, is games don't age well. And because of that, when you go back to them, you're like, holy shit, this kind of looks like crap. It's like watching an old kung fu movie that was produced back in like the 80s or maybe even the 90s. If you go back and look at a kung fu movie, I mean, it's like straw dummies being blown up by, some firecrackers. That's like the extent of their graphics. So I think that you get that same effect when you try to revisit a game, and it's like, yeah, the nostalgia is there, but it's just not visually entertaining anymore, and so you're not attracted to playing it again.
Plus, it feels like older games are harder. Like I feel
Fuck
like,
yes.
Yeah, games become easier and easier to use, right? Which is nice. I really like that.
God, I was playing a game with a friend of mine. I was playing fucking Mario World 3.
Fucking Mario, was that a porn game?
I was playing Mario World 3 with my friend Jared, and we were on the cloud level where the level moves for you, not it's
Okay,
just decides so it forces you forward. We could not pass that level. We must have tried literally probably close to 100 times.
That's
that
crazy.
whole night we spent, and we just got so frustrated. We're like, how the fuck did we do this as kids? Because it's like so challenging. But
yeah,
that is true though. Older games do tend to be more difficult than.
So let me ask you this: let's say that there's an older game you wanted to replay, but you weren't quite sure. Like, I mean, you were kind of on the edge, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would push you over the edge? So, for instance, take a classic, for example. Let's say GoldenEye. For somehow Microsoft or PlayStation got the license for GoldenEye, right? And let's say both of these games, in a perfect world, they both released it for free to download. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm guessing a lot of people would probably download it. A lot of people play it just because it's GoldenEye.
Yeah.
But many people wouldn't stick through it, right? Because one, it was really hard, and
Yeah.
two, it looked horrible. So what if they did one thing different? What if they gave it a 4K treatment? All of a sudden, all the graphics were in 4K. Do you think that would convince you to actually play through the game?
No.
No? What if they did this? What if they improved the graphics to 4K, like so all the resolutions is really up, up to standards.
Yeah.
And they let you save anywhere, like a quick save function. So that way, if you mess up, it'll make it a lot easier, right? Because you can just go back instantly and then play through that part again, and then you
I
keep
see.
pushing forward.
Yeah, there's no reason to. Yeah, I see what you
Would
mean.
you play it then, through like start to finish?
I would be more likely to play it from start to finish as well.
Okay.
Because we've already played those. We've already experienced those games, so we don't want to really experience it like as if it's our first time. We just want to run through it, get that quick fix of playing an old game, and then be done with it.
What about like an old Battlefield game? Did you play it back in 1942 now?
Battlefield games are multiplayer. Their campaigns weren't very great, so.
Well, what's another good game that you would play? Let's see, or a single player game that you could play at any time that was back in the day and they're still making it today. What's another game like that? I can't even think of one. Like
a game back in the day.
Let's say Far Cry. Far Cry is a good example. Like, let's say
the original.
Let's say Far Cry 2. Like, this is an old game.
Never played
right? It was set way back.
I might have played it like 30 minutes.
It was a good game. I mean, it was a fun game back in the day. But it was set in Africa. It was the main character was struggling with malaria, I believe, and I think the whole game was about him trying to find an antidote. It was a pretty good game. It was a lot of fun. But I mean, by today's standards, it probably won't play very well.
Yeah.
It'll at least feel difficult, right?
Yeah.
It'll look not so great.
Yeah.
So let's say Far Cry 2. Before Far Cry 5 comes out, they release Far Cry 2 for free, and they give you 4K graphics.
Yeah.
And they give you saves anywhere.
Yeah.
Would that give you enough reason to play or no?
No.
What if they did this? What if they said that anyone who plays even a little bit of this Far Cry 2 game, they will give you special in-game items for Far Cry 5. Like a special gun from Far Cry 2
Yeah.
will automatically import into Far Cry 5 just to like say like thank you for playing Far Cry 2.
I think that's a good chance. I'd play it just enough to get that achievement, get that unlock probably.
So maybe that's what they need to do. Maybe they need to add some kind of achievement.
So add like a free in-game DLC for you if you revisit a previous game and play it
because you're a loyal player.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, with some games it's really easy, right? With the Mass Effect series.
What would be the incentive for a gaming company to want its gamers to go backwards? I think they'd want them to go forward and because if your mind is occupied with old stuff, you're not going to buy new upcoming games. So what's the incentive of making your customer go backwards essentially and not spend money if it's going to be free?
Well, so like they want to, let's say they go through the effort of refurbishing the game, right? They give it the 4K treatment, like not any new assets or anything, just 4K treatment, which won't cost very much. They'll give you a save anywhere function, which won't cost very much because it shouldn't be a very difficult fix. And then they let you have the ability to have, like, say, a new gun and maybe some like trophies. Like what do they call it? Like I think in Sony they call it trophies, and Microsoft they call it achievement points. For playing the old game.
Yeah.
They give you all those. None of this costs very much money. It can be done really quickly. Mm-hmm. But what happens is that one, you'll have all these people playing your old game, so more people are talking about the franchise. More people get excited about the franchise, and more people possibly end up buying more of the new games because the franchise excites them.
Yeah, I mean, all that's possible, I suppose.
Yeah. But I think that's what has to happen in order for me to get excited for the old games, for backwards compatibility. Because as great as it is, and as much as much life as it breathes into the old games as it possibly can in this state, and I think it's a really good idea. I just wish there was a little bit more, like a stronger push towards it. Right?
Yeah.
They have all these highly intelligent people working on this, day and night, but at the same time, I wonder how many people are actually taking advantage of the system.
Yeah, and even with all that being said, with these, the resolution upgrades and these trophy achievements that you can unlock, and I just don't still think it would be a dramatic boost in players returning. Yeah, you might see a small. I just don't think it's beneficial. I mean, it all sounds great. I just still don't think it'd be very popular because I very rarely hear it talked about. I mean, you'll hear the occasional, update from Microsoft. Oh, they've added this many more games or something like that. But that's really all. You don't really hear about it as something people like to do. So it'd be hard. I think it'd be an expensive, risky move for any, Sony or Microsoft to fully invest in something like that.
I feel like Microsoft's already fully invested.
Oh, I think so. I mean, from what you say, I mean, they're adding their entire library essentially. So without a doubt, they're making that move. So,
you know what's really cool about it? Actually, they told all the developers, "We will do all the work for you, as long as you just okay it."
Yeah.
All the developer has to do is check a box.
Oh wow!
And basically, as long as the developer is not a greedy asshole, that's gonna take wants to keep all their money.
Yeah.
Like Microsoft is like, we'll do all the work for you. We'll release it free to the gamers.
Yeah. For me to be pulled in to play a game backwards compatible game, I think they would have to do more than just resolution. I think they would have to
add in game assets for the new game.
Right? No. For the backwards compatible game, I think they would have to just bump up the textures a little bit. Like for example, GoldenEye. I mean, those are the flattest textures you will ever see. They're essentially just like color swatches.
I don't think the characters even have eyeballs.
So if you were to like give that 4K, I don't think it would look any better. You might see, more defining shape, but I think if you add a little bit if you add maybe like an ambient occlusion in there with some shadows and some
bloom effect.
Some bloom effect. I think if you just step up the graphics just a tad, then I would be engaged. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Because there's a few games that I've played that are that are older that.
Oh, I think John. Did you want to? I thought John wanted to chime in. Okay, never mind. Thanks, John. As always.
Thanks for nothing.
Right. Okay. Anyway, I want to go on a little bit of a tangent here, and I want to talk about The Witcher 3.
Oh God.
So I was just after we talked about it a little bit.
So as I walked into the room with you beating off to it right now, with one controller in one hand and your other controller in the other, if you know what I mean.
That game is so good.
It is good. No, I love that game.
So check this out. I looked up how much the 2 expansion packs cost for it to get the season pass. It's $25, which is not bad at all.
For the 2 DLCs.
Yeah, 2 DLCs.
Which one is like 10 hours long, the other one is like 30 hours long.
Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah, completely worth it.
But check this out. I'm gonna get it for free.
How is that?
This is amazing.
Wait. You're gonna get it for free, or you're gonna get it for me for free?
I'm gonna get it for myself for free, and you can get it for free too if you wanted to.
Well, tell us.
This is really cool. So
wait,
all you have to do is, you know how you Google things on the internet, right? You look up something, you Google it, right? Use Bing.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
Bing?
Bing automatically. So from my experience too, I know I've heard a lot of people say Bing is not that great, blah, blah, blah. From my experience, I'm not a power user, so I can't really comment too much on it.
Yeah.
But from everything I've seen, Bing works perfectly fine. It works just as well as Google. And but Bing gives you points. Every single time you search something, you get points.
What?
And you accumulate these points, and you can reinvest them towards anything you want, like Starbucks cards, Amazon gift cards. What? I'm using it for Xbox points, and so I have enough Bing points to get the 2 expansion packs of The Witcher completely for free.
That's fucking crazy.
Isn't that awesome? Just
why
for freaking searching
have
things.
you been so greedy and not have told me about this before?
I don't know.
God damn it! Roman.
I don't know. I thought everybody knew, but I guess not.
No, I don't. I just use Google because that's the one by default. And
right? But freaking A, it's amazing. I didn't think that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I never really figured that it could actually accumulate to anything. But like,
I have to sign up for like a Bing account. Oh, obviously,
it's
right?
just my Microsoft account.
Oh,
just my normal,
because Bing is Microsoft, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Microsoft. Yeah, it's just my normal Microsoft account, which is like whatever my Microsoft email. Like, I don't even know whatever the hell I sign in with. It's automatically signed in. But yeah, and I either use it on my phone or I use it on my computer, and boom.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's freaking amazing. But anyway, so here's what I want to talk about Witcher. I thought I was totally done with that game. I thought all the side quests were done.
Yeah.
I found one that I didn't finish. That I didn't even start. I didn't even know it existed, right?
Wait, you almost did 100%?
As far as side quests go, I think I'm either at 100% now or pretty close to it.
Wow.
I love that game that much. But here's one very good reason of why the side quests in that game are better than most games' main storylines.
Oh, yeah.
So check this out.
Dude, their side quests are amazing.
Dude, it is so good. So check this out. So you know, like in the game, in The Witcher, you oftentimes have options, right? Like who to let go, who to kill, what to do in whatever situation, right?
Yeah.
And in some cases, you can even let monsters go, right? If you hear their storyline and you have the option. I remember that, like sometimes you could let like a troll go. Other times like a little like the little like.
So a monster you were hunting, you may eventually just let go.
Yeah, exactly.
Once they,
some of them have like like very good backstories to like why they do what they do, and like how maybe they're misunderstood or whatever, right?
Right.
So check this out. I just happened to be like, and I was randomly running around. I wasn't even looking for a side quest or anything. I was just doing whatever in The Witcher, just because I wanted to like see that world a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
This guy comes up to me, and he's like, and he goes, "Hey, I need a Witcher. I was jumped by." I can't remember what he called them, but the little guys, they're like 5 feet tall, little monsters, little tiny ones that just like run at you and like try to claw you.
Yeah.
And
a golem.
Something like that. Yeah, basically it looks like a golem. Yeah, that's what it looks like. And
I think I know the side quest you're talking about.
Maybe you do, maybe you don't. And so he goes up to me. He's like, "Hey, me and my friend were on a trading mission, and our wagon with my friend was jumped by these little monsters, a bunch of them.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Can you please help me out?" And so obviously I negotiate a price, and then I go out and I
you selfish bastard.
and I go towards where that caravan was, right? So I look around and I see this broken down wagon. I see a dead body. I see a dead horse. Yeah. And remember, like in a lot of the side quests where you first have to investigate the crime scene using your Witcher powers.
Right.
So I go up to it and I start investigating. And the first thing I investigate is a dead body. And the Witcher says something like, "Oh, that's interesting. This guy is really old. I don't see any marks on him, like he was killed by a mark, but he looks like he was so old that he could have probably died from just fright. Like, right, his heart maybe gave out or something."
Right.
So then I go investigate the horse, and he says something like, "Well, there's definitely slashes on here, but the horse also has lockjaw, which means that it could have been poisoned. And then the wounds would have been done after, but he's like, he can't say for sure." As he's investigating, or as I'm investigating, out of nowhere, this giant boulder the size of 2 cars comes flying towards me, right? I dodge out of the way just last second.
Yeah.
And then the mission changes to tell me to investigate where the boulder came from.
What the hell?
Right,
Okay,
so-
I didn't play this mission.
So then I run up the hill and I start looking around and I see, using my Witcher sense, I see feet mark from those little monsters.
Yeah.
From one little monster that's like 5 feet tall.
Yeah,
And I'm thinking in my head, like, Witcher doesn't say anything, but I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, there's no way this little monster could have thrown a boulder the size of 2 cars at me.
Yeah.
But it's just the only footsteps there. It's just this little tiny, like 5-foot guy.
Yeah.
So I follow these footsteps into a cave. As I enter the cave, another rock, big ass rock, comes down from behind and closes the cave entrance on me.
Huh.
I'm like, what the hell is going on, right? So I proceed forward, where there's a bunch of little, like, a bunch of like the arachnid-looking monsters, like spider-looking things. I don't know what the hell they're called.
Yeah.
So I fight through all of them, and it's a pretty tough fight. And after that, I kind of wander through the cave, and I get into a secret room where I find these plans for whoever this person is trying to assassinate me specifically. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And so I figure out where the meeting spot was supposed to be after the assassination, but the assassination, they don't know that. Well, he doesn't know the assassination failed.
So the assassination attempt is when they threw the boulder on you.
Yeah, and then after that, it was supposed to be a backup. Was supposed to be the arachnids were supposed to kill me.
Yeah.
And neither one of those worked. So then I follow through to where I find out where their meeting spot's supposed to be. I follow it there, and already, I mean, this sounds more advanced than any side quest ever.
I'm like interested. This should be a book,
right? It's so. This is just a random side quest I totally missed the first time. And so then I go to this meeting spot where they're supposed to meet, and I'm in this kind of like a lower area, and and all of a sudden out of the darkness, 4 creatures come up, and it's the 4 creatures that try to assassinate me. And I have the option at that point to start fighting them right away, or I could ask him what the hell they're planning. So I want to know, right? So I ask him, like, what's the deal here?
So you jump out of the brush and confront them.
Yeah, basically, I'm like, what are you guys doing? And what they say is...
Wait, so there's 2 groups. A group already standing there, and then the monster's walking.
No. They are the monsters. I didn't know this, but so, like, one of them is a werewolf, one is a troll, one is that little tiny guy, and one is a shapeshifter.
What the
And all 4 of them have been hurt by other Witchers. And so they're out to get revenge on any Witcher. And they happen to see me in the area, and so they came up with this idea to kill me, right?
Yeah.
Well, as I start talking to them, because in the game previously, way like hours and hours and hours, like 30 hours ago before this, I happened to let go some of the monsters that they knew, because they have the option to choose which monsters you could talk to them. Like, listen, I've let go of these monsters. They start questioning me.
Yeah.
They start backing off one by one, and out of the 4, I had 3 that I had let go, but the 4th was a werewolf that I did not let go. I remember I killed him. The werewolf goes crazy, and he comes after me anyway, but the other 3 hang back. And afterwards, after I killed the werewolf, they're like, listen, like, we realize that not all Witchers are bad.
We realize we can't take you, so we don't want to kill you.
Yeah, we realize not all Witchers are bad, but because you let our kin go way earlier in the game, we're going to let you go this time without fighting you. So the game remembered all of that so many hours later. Like, how great is that?
Well, just the story itself of that quest.
Yeah.
Is so involved, and so many different characters, so many different things that were created to make that mission. It's like
it's really complex.
So the guy who approached you and said we got attacked, he was in on it then.
He was in on it. He was just a human that was in on it.
So how did see that's so complex. The complexity of that, and it's a side mission,
it's just a side mission. Like in most games, like if you just choose to let someone go live or let's kill somebody, that's the end of it, right? You won't probably never hear from them again. In this game, hours and hours later, there's a random side mission where all of this matters.
Do you think games have, for me, but do you think games are offering that feature where decisions will decide later events or something like that?
I mean, maybe to some degree. Like one game,
you don't think they're doing it more often, though?
One game I was really hoping to see this from was Mass Effect. The new Mass Effect.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it not there? Not really?
Dude, if you're going to ask me what the storyline of Mass Effect Andromeda was, it's this. Human beings and a bunch of other aliens that are friendly arrive in a new galaxy where they meet one group of other friendly aliens and one group of hostile aliens. We fight the hostile aliens, and I can't tell you what happens at the end because the game glitched out and will let me beat it. And that's Mass Effect Andromeda.
That fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was at the very last boss, and it glitched out the last boss where I couldn't like do some trigger or whatever, and it just wouldn't let me proceed forward.
Wow.
Anyway, moving on. The next thing we want to talk about is games that can be played with your significant other, and specifically in the same room, right? Because if you have a girlfriend or a wife or a boyfriend or a husband, or maybe you love your daddy a lot. I don't know.
We're talking about on the same TV screen at the same time in the same room, not a LAN, not a over the internet. This is specifically with somebody that like your significant other, your girlfriend,
or even your
boyfriend,
friend or whatever.
Yeah, or a close friend or something like that. So
because you only share games with your close friends.
fuck acquaintances, fuck strangers. No, it's like no, I'm willing to play games with anyone.
So if you're gonna list top 3 couch co-op games, what would they be?
Well, I have more than 3.
Well, we can start with John.
Yeah. John, what do you say?
Come on, man. Every time. Okay. Anyway,
he's building his confidence.
Victor, why don't you start?
Okay. So I'll list 5, and then maybe we can pick 3, or we can talk about all of them. But or I'll just go through them all. Fuck it.
We have 3. I'll list 5.
So the one I played recently was with my wife is Until Dawn, and
that's co-op?
No. I mean like when I say together, I mean like sharing the same controller.
Oh, so it's a single player game?
Well, not all the games I have are single player.
Okay,
some
go ahead. So Until Dawn,
it's a mixture.
Okay.
So Until Dawn, the second one would be
Until Dawn is like almost like a video / game, right?
Yeah, and I was actually surprised, but it very much is like an interactive movie. Really, it's more of an interactive movie than I expected it to be, but it was still good. And if you can compare it to like those teenage scary movies like Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer. If you think about those movies, it has that kind of story and plot to it, where you play a group of teenagers going up into this ski resort that nobody else seems to be at. It's like a private only to them, but power's out. So it's a psycho thriller. I won't give anything away, but if you want to play, that kind of game, a scary game that maybe your spouse can tolerate, I would suggest Until Dawn.
Can I say something? So it's a little bit offbeat, but in honor of Halloween, I'm trying to get Shirley to play Outlast with me.
Outlast. Oh yeah.
And so I don't know how it's gonna go. I've never played Outlast before myself. I saw a preview. It looked really freaking scary. Like way too scary for me. But I think with her by my side, we can play it. Yeah. But I don't know if she's gonna hang with that. We'll see.
I don't know. I played Outlast. I think I got about halfway through.
Was it really scary? Compared to Evil Within.
No. I think Evil Within is scarier.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it won't be that big a deal.
Yeah. I mean, in Outlast, you're always kind of tense because you're looking through night vision or something. So it's like your view is somewhat constricted, so you don't know when you're going to get something that's in view and maybe frighten you. So you're always kind of tense. But I was never really scared when I played it.
Interesting.
And it's not really. It doesn't have a lot of jump scares. It's like a scary monster slowly chasing you, and you just, it's weird. It's a weird game. You should play it though. Just check it out.
Maybe I will.
No.
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. And then the second game that I thought was good, and I'm sure you played this because it's an Xbox game, Rayman Origins.
I love that game. I think
it's super fun. Yeah, it's the art style is just kind of quirky, but it's well done. Yeah, I love the colors, the action, even the character traits.
The gameplay is so tight.
Yeah, I mean it's so much fun. It's a very fun game.
It's a new Mario basically.
Yeah, two people can play at the same time simultaneously. You pick your own character. You can attack. Yeah, you can slap each other. So whenever you're mad at your spouse, just slap them across with your tongue or each character has each character you choose has different traits and different attack moves that are just kind of these animated but funny moves. So it's funny, and I think it's very entertaining.
And it grades you at the end of each level to see who did better, so you could always see.
Oh, really?
There. Yeah, it gives you a little more points to see who.
I never paid attention to that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think now that I remember, I think Sephora got a little bit more. But do they grade you on if you hit the other person?
No, it's just on like how many things you collect or
because I was wondering, because she was slapping me a lot, and then she got a high score at the end. So I was wondering, was it a high score due to her slapping me?
Or
Both, but whatever. We're talking about games right now. So that's another game that I thought is very fun. Another game that I've just started playing by myself, but I think it can definitely be a game you can play with somebody, is Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. And it's a action-adventure puzzle game. Well, not action. It's an adventure puzzle game. The camera's slightly overhead, but you control
like isometric kind of?
Yeah, but you control both brothers at the same time, simultaneously, and they work together to solve the puzzles and progress through the world. The world is like a linear path, but it's a very like whimsical fairy tale type of environment. So I think that would make it fun for other games like that, or to play. And then I'll just go with one more because I thought I should mention this one, and it's an older game. It's Portal 2. And have you ever played Portal?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the multiplayer in that with the co-op is so good.
Yeah, it's so good. You use one controller, but levels.
Each person can use a controller too.
Oh, really?
Because in Portal 2, if you play the multiplayer or the co-op, each person controls a different robot, the egg shape or the circle guy, or the sphere.
Oh, see, I never played it with a second player, so I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
I just played it, and I figured this would be a perfect game to play with
co-op
somebody.
is really cool because I think co-op has separate missions that you have to have two people for.
Oh, then I need to replay it with my spouse.
Really cool.
Yeah,
it's really
so there
cool.
you go. So Portal 2, I just think it's and you work the levels at your own pace. So but now knowing that you can do co-op, it totally changes my perspective on that game. So I think those are 4 good games, and I have one more, Mario Kart. Obviously, I think that's a classic that you can play with anybody. But that's my list of games that I think you can play with your spouse, significant other, best friend, whatever.
So you took 2 of mine. Rayman was going to be one of mine, and so was Portal 2. Both of those were really good co-op games.
Yeah.
But the 2 other ones that I would mention is, one, Gears of War, because the entire franchise can be played in co-op, which is really awesome, and it's something...
From the same TV.
Couch co-op, yeah.
Couch co-op, okay.
The entire franchise, and that's something that Shirley and I did, was we played through all Gears 1, 2, 3, and 4, the newest one, in co-op straight through.
Was she into that kind of game, that art style, the gore, the monsters, the
dude, I don't
chainsaw
know what it is, but she really loves killing monsters. It's the weirdest thing. She just loves killing monsters.
That's cool.
She doesn't like say Call of Duty as much.
Yeah.
Or Halo, because Halo is too sci-fi for her, and Call of Duty, you're killing real people.
Yeah.
But monsters, man, I don't know, for some reason those things really communicate well to her.
Does is it got a co-op campaign and like co-op multiplayer? Like can you versus each other?
I don't know about the co-op versus, but co-op campaign all the way through. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I think what makes it really good as far as Gears of War goes is that, especially in this last one, there's a clear and present need for the other person. And here's an example, a really good example. So there's these certain monsters, these like really big creatures that are probably the size of like almost like half a bedroom. Like, I mean, they're really big, right? And what these creatures do is that, let's say they jump into a group and they start trying to kill everybody. Well, they don't just try to kill people. After they knock you down or knock a character down, they'll run up to the character, open their mouth, and a bunch of tentacles come out, grab the character, and pull him in its belly.
What?
And then what's cool about this is that in most games, when a creature attacks or an enemy attacks, it tries to kill the whole group, right? It just tries to kill you as fast as it can.
Yeah.
In this game, these creatures act more like actual animals, where once they grab a human that they want to eat, and they put them in their belly, their next goal is just to escape and dodge out of there as fast as they can.
Oh, wow.
So if you
dine and dash.
If you're in the belly, like for instance, if I get caught in this belly, right, it knocks me down, it grabs me. I then have to rely on Shirley to shoot its belly, because its belly starts, it becomes bigger, like a snake, right? And it glows. And she has to shoot the belly before this creature can escape. And if she shoots it enough, it'll throw me up.
Ugh.
Yeah, and they'll come back and try to attack again. Like, and there's more like things like that where you really need the other person.
Yeah.
But I think that's really smart co-op, where it forces you to need the other person.
Yeah.
Rather than just having to shoot somebody with them.
Yeah. Like, it's a necessity to have.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Because in single player, you're AI teammates will do it, right?
Hopefully.
Don't you have AI
played,
teammates with you?
You do
companions?
have AI teammates. I don't know how good they are because I never really played. The whole game I played with her.
Yeah.
And the other game is actually a little bit older. I think it was remastered for the Xbox One, but originally came out in 360, called Castle Crashers.
I've heard of it. Never played it.
It's really cool.
That's like a top down.
No,
right?
it's a side scroller.
Side
beat 'em
scroller.
up.
Right.
But it has an amazing sense of humor. It even it has like a bunch of like little areas and little and bad guys and little story moments that reflect on popular culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember there was one bad guy you beat, and as he falls into this, you have to push him in this lava pit.
Yeah.
And as he falls in the lava pit, he sinks down. But right as he sinks down, he gives you a thumbs up, like Terminator 2.
Yeah.
As you always see like that. Like, there's a bunch of little moments like that where you're like, oh my god, I saw that in a movie. There's a really great sense of humor, and the whole game can be played co-op.
Huh.
Up to 4 players.
Huh.
And so that's my other.
I always thought of that as a mobile game, but it came out on.
Was it for mobile too?
I thought that's where it started from. No.
I don't know.
I thought it started out as like a mobile version, and they
don't
just
know.
developed it and came out as a console game.
I only played it on the Xbox, so I can't speak to that. Anyway, so those are, as far as co-op games go, I think that's pretty much ours, right?
Yeah, I mean those are good games.
John, do you? Oh my, really?
John, where'd he go? Okay.
The fuck, John? Wow.
Well.
Okay. Anyway, that
Maybe he forgot to take his medicine.
we are not having John on the show anymore. He's just done. He is
Oh
just
my God.
freaking done. This guy is ridiculous.
Oh, unreliable.
How's he gonna get home? He didn't even drive here. How did he even get here?
I think he came on his Nintendo Switch. Anyway.
Wow. Okay.
So our next topic on the agenda is name 2 game franchises and how they can bring new life by changing the type of game that it currently is. And this was a topic that Roman wanted to bring up because he likes reinventing games. So
I love reinventing games.
so take it away. Yeah, let's see what ideas you got, Mr.
Here's
Take
what I
it
was
away
thinking.
guy.
The 2 game franchises I was thinking that need to be revamped a little bit are Gears of War and Halo, the 2 biggest franchises that Xbox has. Well, maybe the other biggest one now is Forza, bigger than Gears of War. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sales wise, but I know the 2 really big ones. They've been around for a really long time, and there hasn't been that much movement. I mean, Halo got a Halo Wars, which is like a RTS style game, right? And it got ODST.
What's RTS?
Like real-time strategy.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, you got like a real-time, like kind of like Age of Empires kind of look.
Yeah.
And they were always okay, but they were never that great. And then it got ODST, which is really good, but it's still the exact same game, just from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, I'll start with this. I'll start with Gears of War. And so I was thinking, typically Gears of War, it's a cover-based shooter and a heavy emphasis on shooter, right? Because it takes like an entire clip to kill one bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
So you really got to unload them, and the way it plays is that you get into a room, you shoot all the bad guys, you move 50 feet forward, and then you shoot a bunch of bad guys and so forth, right? So you're constantly always just pushing forward, a little bit at a time until you clear all the way through in this corridor shooter.
Yeah.
Here's what I was thinking, Gears of War. What if Gears of War decided to do a spin-off where the game, instead of being a cover-based shooter, they made it into a story-based stealth horror game. Now it already has the monsters to
Story-based
support that,
stealth
right? Monsters are scary.
Game. So you're talking about Evil Within 2.
I'm thinking more like The Last of Us.
Okay.
So, and here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking will happen. So imagine it takes place right as what they call E-Day, Emergence Day, where the monsters first come out of the ground and start conquering all these cities after city after city, right?
Right.
And right as the monsters say they conquer one city, there's a kid who survives. And it's like a teenager, like say like 13, 14 years old, a really young teenager.
Right.
Right? He's just young enough to be a little bit smart, but not. He can't really like fight these monsters back or anything like that.
Yeah.
And his goal is to get out of the city alive or get as far from these monsters alive as possible.
Oh.
And so you have this whole like very isolated perspective where you're all alone, you're surrounded by monsters, and you can't really kill them. So you have to sneak around them stealth-wise. But there's a heavy emphasis on story where it's all about your character and the backstory of like who you are, and you don't really know anything about these monsters. So these monsters are really scary, right? You can't understand them, and you know the only thing they want to do is kill you or catch you or something, right? So there's that whole monster background, and there's a wealth of monsters in the Gears of War series.
Yeah.
And each one could have different characteristics as far as like how they interact with you, because like they're doing the actual game, and you're trying to sneak around them. But like after say the first quarter of the game, instead of it's just you being isolated, you somehow hear about your brother, right? And you go back and you have to go back and you have to save your brother, but your brother is even younger than you. Let's say he's like 8 years old.
Yeah.
So he's not very handy at all. And so this game becomes, instead of just stealth, you stealthing around like typical stealth games, like The Last of Us, like Splinter Cell, like Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
It's you trying to stealth your way through it, but you're trying to keep your brother safe as well. And so typically AI plays a role where it's like, not good AI, right? People are often like, oh my god, this AI didn't do what I wanted,
Yeah.
In this case, the AI makes sense because it's a kid who's really scared. In some cases, he'd be too scared to move. So you have to, for instance, like say, find a rock and throw it when a monster is coming towards your brother to distract him from your brother and from yourself. So you have to watch for your brother as well as yourself.
So it almost has a puzzle aspect to it.
Exactly.
You know what game has a very similar gameplay that you just described? Ico. Have you ever played Ico?
I did play a little bit of Ico.
Where you're that
a long time ago.
Where you're that young kid and you're trying to guide this ghost-like princess.
But it wasn't stealth though, was it?
Well, it wasn't stealth, but you had to avoid the evil demons that were produced from shadows, and you had to, like, you were literally holding this girl's hand along. You had to like call for her, because these evil spirits wanted to take her and capture her and then dissolve her.
Kind of like that. I was thinking you wouldn't have to literally hold the character's hand.
Yeah,
you just tell them.
But they're the main focal point of the story.
It's a stealth game where you focus on two characters at once. But and the other thing that would be really cool about this game is that not only would it be story driven and stealth based, which is total departure for Gears of War, even though it already has the monsters, but there should be decisions there involved where decisions that change gameplay subconsciously. So instead of saying like in The Witcher or in Deus Ex or many other games where the decision's clearly laid out in front of you, like do you want to let this person go or do you want to kill him? Do you want to do A or do you want to do B? And the character tells you.
Yeah.
It'll be more subconscious decisions. Like for instance, let's say like you and your brother run into a group of other survivors, and these survivors are getting attacked by these monsters all of a sudden, and the survivor is an adult and he's like, you kids get out of here right now, just run, we'll hold them off for you, right?
Yeah.
Well, at that point in the game, when the game tells you to run, you normally run. That's your objective.
Yeah.
Well, in this game, what if you had the option of stay? What would happen? Like it's totally subconscious in the sense that the game doesn't tell you that, right? It doesn't consciously tell you that you have the option of staying.
Yeah.
But if you stayed, let's say this character then survives, whereas if you lived, that character dies. And then that character could help you out even further because he survived and he's grateful to you. And things like that could happen. Like, for instance, like, let's say you have to hotwire a car or something, right? Or you have to unlock a car.
Yeah.
Or get into a car, whatever, as this kid. Well, depending on what car you choose, one car might have an alarm, one car might not. You don't know if it does or not. If the car has an alarm, all of a sudden all these monsters get attracted to you and the level becomes more complex.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if the car doesn't have an alarm, you try to steal it and then you try to drive off with it, but then the monsters start chasing you in like one of those like flying things because they saw you in a different location or something.
Yeah.
But like there's these unconscious choices.
Yeah, I think that's what makes a good game is when you have these choices that you don't realize you're making choices, but then they really impact, and that's what makes a good game have replayability.
Yeah, because you never know what could happen. But what do you think of that? What do you think of Gears of War stealth?
Yeah,
story-driven stealth.
It sounds a lot like Last of Us, like you mentioned, just a little bit more on edge. like a little bit more
Yeah,
intense.
it's it's monsters that are already there.
Yeah. I think it sounds interesting.
And that could totally
yeah.
fill a void for Microsoft because they don't really have that strong single player story driven game.
The one thing I would be concerned about is if the gameplay would be fun, knowing that you're responsible for this extra AI that's going to tag along. Because in a lot of games that have companions, they seem to get in the way.
Yeah, I agree completely.
They seem to get in the way, and like when you have the option to leave your companion somewhere rather than the ones that are forced. Like if I have the option to leave my companion somewhere, I'm going to leave him somewhere. Fallout 4, I never had a companion, not even the fucking dog.
Same here.
What other game? I mean, in Horizon, there was this option in some of the missions to have this guy tag along as you clear out the rebel base. I never asked for his help, so it's like that's one thing that I would be curious how it's going to play out having a companion that way in that kind of stealth game. Because when you're in stealth game, you don't want nothing else to fuck up your stealth.
Yeah.
And if you have a companion, you're like, holy shit! Now what if this AI just automatically stands up? However, there are some games that the enemy AI will ignore your companion AI.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I like that or not.
Yeah, which might defeat the purpose of the stealth aspect.
Because it makes it feel so silly, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so it's something I noticed a lot in The Last of Us, where like the girl would run right in front of the monsters, and they were just like, click, 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 whatever, right?
I mean, granted, she did it quick, but you can tell the monster fucking heard or saw her.
Yeah, literally right in front of them.
And you're like, holy shit! But yeah, the in that case, that's the kind of interaction that doesn't bring realism. So
yeah, that would be the one tricky.
But that does sound like a very cool concept.
Yeah.
I would say.
The next one that I was thinking was Halo. What if Halo took a Destiny/Division/Gears of War approach? And check this out.
Wait. Halo took a Destiny,
like a Destiny Division or
Division.
like I mean not
yeah.
like
Yeah.
but like
I'm
something
just
like
trying
that,
to think
right?
of a mashup.
So basically, here's how it would work. Like imagine like there's a whole planet, right, or like open world. It's completely open world, like Gears of War or
they already have that Anthem.
Right? As far as we know, I don't know what the hell.
Okay, anyway, proceed.
So it's an open world, like a planet, right? Where it's not Earth, it's some other planet, and you play as, like say ODST or just the regular military guys, not Spartans. Mm-hmm. You just pick one of these guys, you customize them to how you want to look, like so you customize your character, you customize your weapons, and then you go on these missions trying to take over different areas, kind of like say Far Cry, right? Where you take over bases one by one, and you kind of push forward. And so in the beginning of the game, you could choose either you want to play as these human like soldiers, or you could play as the jackals from the Covenant side. So
why just the jackals?
Well, the grunts are too easy, I think. Too easy to kill. Nobody want to play with them.
Oh, yeah, right.
But the jackals, I think, are most similar to humans, like human like spec ops. Yeah. And the elites are too powerful because the elites compared to the Spartans. And so you have some people that are playing as jackals. You have some people that are playing as humans, and each one's trying to take over different bases, and they're not necessarily interacting with each other until there are special missions where both sides are being fought by real people. So let's say it's like a battlefield match where it's like 30 players and 30 players of a bunch of jackals and some AI grunts, or humans with a bunch of AI regular soldiers, and they're fighting for different objectives in a multiplayer match. Almost like a Dark Zone in the Division, because there's a lot more people trying to fight over the one thing.
Right.
And then let's say like as one team starts losing, to give them an edge, the top 3 players, after they die, they all of a sudden start dropping down from the sky as Spartans.
Oh.
If they're humans, it was like boom. And they drop in like 3 guys drop in Spartans, and they totally change the tempo of the match. And all of a sudden they're super powerful. Yeah. Well, as the bad guys start dropping, as they start losing, they come in with 3 elites.
Oh.
And all of a sudden this game becomes
that sounds hella fun, dude. Oh,
and all of a sudden, like, there's this big battle of like regular people playing as like jackals, soldiers, Spartans, elites.
Yeah, you have a few of the special characters on there duking it out.
Exactly, and you're like and obviously you're leveling up in RPG style. It's open world, so you use vehicles and you work on like Ghost Recon. Fly around and do different missions.
So it sounds like with the multiplayer like a Battlefield style map, big on that scale.
like way bigger. But and there's like certain areas.
Oh, wow.
I mean, because it's open world. A totally
Right,
open world
right.
game was like single player,
Uh-huh.
but some areas are these multiplayer battles, just like pockets.
Oh, okay.
Spread out through the map
okay.
that you could join in if you wanted
Nice.
to.
Oh.
And so, like, let's say like me and you are driving in a Jeep in a Warhog going to a mission. All of a sudden, we hear on the radio, you know,
Yeah.
we need your help.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
like if we're close enough to get the radio signal or something.
Yeah, like Point Bravo needs your help. We drive over there and we just seamlessly join into a multiplayer match.
Yeah.
And we start fighting
that
alongside.
sounds amazing.
Right?
Like an
Wouldn't it be
open world action.
Yeah.
Just an open world action game.
And the cool thing
Is there any like RPG elements? Or,
you level up your guy, you get
Yeah.
better guns, you get new
better
scopes for your like
guns.
battle rifle.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that because
But your default character is always a human, right?
It's human.
You only
You only-
upgrade as a Spartan in battle.
in only in those multiplayer matches.
Yeah.
Nobody just plays a
Randomly
human.
among
exactly.
the players.
Only if you're like whatever, right?
Yeah.
And the cool thing about being a human is that instead of being this huge intergalactic war that you're focused on with Cortana and all these different factions, you're faced with, like, say, a really human war, right? Where you're just protecting your home, and that's your mission.
Oh, kind of like in the storyline when the Covenant would go to I forget the term they use for blowing up the planet. Glassing. Before they glass the planet, there's a battle, and it's like the local military fighting the Covenant that's intruding.
Exactly.
That would be fucking amazing.
Wouldn't that be an
dude.
awesome game?
Oh my god.
Microsoft, please be listening, and please make this game. Make this game. It would be so
Wow.
good.
Yeah, that would be that. And so, do you think that kind of game would be what would it be heavier on, the campaign or the multiplayer? It seems like that would be to me that seems like it would be more successful on the multiplayer side.
I don't know, because like I guess that's a challenge, and I don't know, because part of it is going to be open world like Far Cry or Ghost Recon, where you play with just your buddy or by yourself.
Yeah.
But the multiplayer is only if you want to join into these battles.
Yeah.
So
like in the Division, they had the red zone.
Exactly.
So in the open
Just
world
like that.
multiplayer, you'd have like essentially pockets of red zones that you can enter.
Yeah.
Where there's
Exactly.
yeah, that sounds like an amazing concept.
Dude, please, somebody make this game and then send me a copy.
Trademarked, copyrighted.
Yeah, we're trademark Halo.
patent
Yes,
pending.
I think that's been done.
Oh man.
Oh. Okay, and with that, we come to our last subject, which is, what was it? Okay, here we go. Does there come a time when a gaming franchise needs to come to an end? Are reboots good for a franchise? So let's tackle the first part.
I would say yes for both, but let's tackle the first question.
I would say yes for both as well in some cases.
Yeah.
So as far as does a gaming franchise need to come to an end? Man, that is a tough question. That is so hard because, for instance, Mario comes to mind, right? Mario is a franchise that's been going on since the 80s.
Yeah. I don't think that's a franchise that can go away.
Why?
Because
Actually, no. Let me rephrase that question. Sorry. Now I know why, because it's so important to Nintendo and it's engraved in every person's mind and blah blah. It's the most important character in video gaming. But why is Mario continuously successful? The new Mario came out. Its Metacritic is like 89.
yeah,
Right, which is amazing.
But why
is it so good? Why is it continuously so good?
Because it's like a staple of. I mean, I know it's a not an American character, but it's almost like a staple of America. Like you hear anybody, you say the name Mario, everybody knows what the hell you're talking about, even non-gamers.
But do you think other countries feel the same way? Like in
No,
Italy, it's a staple of
but I
Italy
think
and like Spain.
Yeah, but the market isn't. I would think the U.S. is the biggest market of video games.
Oh well, yeah, that's absolutely true.
So
but
I
it doesn't
think-
mean that they're gamer. I mean, there's just less people there in those countries, right?
Yeah, but I think it's, even though it's always cartoony, it's always different. I think, or there's always a different game style. Like Mario's always a different game style.
I think that's exactly it.
It's a different game style.
It's always completely different.
Yeah, it's the same characters. It's a cartoon, art style, but it's a different game type each time, essentially, almost.
Yeah,
like the new Mario that came out. They said that's the first sandbox since the Mario 64.
And what was the one before that? It was Mario Maker. It was like a 2D platform where you make your own Mario levels.
Or Mario Party.
Yeah,
which was a board game. And Mario Party was very successful.
Yeah.
I love Mario Party 1.
from 20 years ago.
Yeah, dude, it was a fun game. Dude.
It was a fun game.
It was a very fun game. Like, dude, the mini game after mini game was just so fun. You're racing, it was just a very fun game.
But yeah, I think that's what a franchise has to do to be successful. It has to constantly evolve.
Like you mentioned in Halo, like making what you just said.
Yeah. God, that would be such a great game. Man. Like, as I was telling you this, I was visualizing it. And I'm just like visualizing, I was like rolling in a Warhog to this open world, go anywhere, right?
Oh, the Warhog would be dope, dude.
Dude, that would be so
That'd be dope.
cool.
All right, we were on a different topic.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, a game that I think is kind of like Mario that can't go away is Tomb Raider. It's a franchise that you
wouldn't
can't
have been
end.
true like 10 years ago. It would have been dead.
Yeah,
But Crystal Dynamics totally reinvented it.
And that's where I think they did an excellent reboot.
They did like an Uncharted, but more grounded and serious. It wasn't somebody who was constantly like cracking jokes and sarcastic.
Yeah, no, you're actually living the growth of Lara Croft. I mean, it's her beginning. Like you find out, like in the Tomb Raider, Rise of Tomb Raider, the second to the last, right?
The second,
not the last one. What's the last Tomb Raider?
There's two of the new ones.
Yeah, what's the last one?
I think it's called Rise.
Okay, so the one before that one.
I think it's just called Tomb Raider.
Okay, it's just called Tomb Raider, right?
I think so.
Yeah, like, I mean, that was like perhaps her very first quest that she had ever been on.
Yeah, and she was just like a teenager.
Yeah, so it's like they're rebooting it more than just starting back over like in the middle of her life where she's already this great explorer, and I think that's what makes that reboot an amazing reboot, really.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. It was
really well done.
It was really smart. It was really mature. And that's one thing I was thinking about Witcher versus Zelda. I was thinking about that earlier today. And remember how I mentioned how Zelda is like that adventure you'd have as a kid? Mm-hmm. Witcher is the adventure you'd have in real life.
That you have as an adult?
Really. Because it's not a world where everybody's like this cartoon character. It's not a world where everybody likes you, that's friendly. Mm-hmm. Right? There's a lot of racism. There's a lot of sexism.
Yeah.
But it's so gritty and dark and fruitful in terms of the things you get out of these quests. It's not just going on a quest to get a sword that has +6 damage.
Yeah.
It's going on a quest and learning that this guy's wife, she didn't actually get killed by werewolves. She was a werewolf. And that she was trying to protect her husband from something else altogether. As an actual side quest.
Wow.
It's freaking crazy.
God, every fucking quest on that game is amazing.
It's insane.
Anyway,
that was way off subject.
And then a franchise that I think, and I hate to say this, but a franchise that needs to come to an end, which probably will, but it should have come to an end, is the Metal Gear Solid franchise. And the fact that they're trying to make Metal Gear survive from bits and pieces of the previous game, I think they're just, I looked at the gameplay of this game and it just looks horrible.
What is the gameplay?
You just fight off waves of these zombie like. Yeah, well, it's always it's a shooter. It's a third person
stealth action before now.
Yeah, it's a third person shooter where you fight off these waves. From what I've seen in the video, you fight off these waves of zombie like. Humans, whatever. And as you're fighting them, you can build like barricades, build fences, and it's a very weird.
It's like Gears of War horde mode.
Probably.
It sounds exactly like Gears of War horde.
Yeah, probably. And I just don't think even this last Metal Gear Solid 5, it wasn't the traditional Metal Gear, and I was slightly disappointed in it. It was still a fantastic game, and I enjoyed it, and I can't say that I love it, but I really, really did like it. But I felt like it wasn't the typical Metal Gear Solid game, and it should have ended at that. And I hope that after Metal Gear Survive, they'll just end it, because maybe it won't be successful, or maybe it just won't be what the fans are looking for. But I think that's a franchise that can probably be done away with, unfortunately. Because for those of you that don't know, that's like probably my favorite gaming franchise. My favorite. No, it's my favorite gaming franchise. Dude, I love Metal Gear Solid. I love it.
I agree.
I played every game in the series several times.
Do you remember Metal Gear Solid 1? I remember that so distinctly. Because I remember, when you first start playing it, and the credits, kind of the opening credits roll, and you're swimming into that underground, or you're swimming underwater into this base. And from that very moment, I was awestruck by how cinematic this game was. Because before that, what I played was like GoldenEye, what I played was like Zelda on Nintendo 64, and none of those games were even close to that. Nothing was.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I was opened up to this movie
Yeah.
with this rich story and these crazy characters. And these characters, one of which even knew my background. He's like, "Oh, I see you like Gran Turismo and Twisted Metal, blah blah blah," right? Like a psychopath guy
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Metal Gear Solid 2, super good game. A little bit weird with that transgender vampire thing guy. Remember, he was like homosexual or
Vamp.
Yeah, something was weird about him. Like, they took it a little too far. It's not weird enough that you're a vampire. You have to make a bisexual vampire or something.
That was always, like, talking in this weird, like, kind of...
erotic
voice.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like, weird. But still, Metal Gear Solid 2, really good. Metal Gear Solid 3, I didn't like as much. And here's why. I thought the storyline was still fine.
That was Snake Eater, right?
Snake Eater.
Yeah.
I didn't like
Snake
because...
Eater. I love that soundtrack.
It was still like these weird camera angles, but you almost needed to see way in advance of you where the bad guys were. And so the camera limited your view, so it was kind of...
You're talking about the top down? Yeah.
And then Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, and by this time Snake was this old man with a rapist mustache. I wasn't too interested in that. I actually never played Metal Gear Solid 4.
Did you ever play Metal Gear Solid 2, the original when it first came out, and then when they redid it where it was the third-person perspective?
Metal Gear Solid 3 was always third.
No, on 2. On 2, no.
It was always third person. What do you mean third person?
On Metal Gear Solid 2, when it first was released, it was the overhead view.
Remember? And they had a third person,
and,
like
yeah, and then they remade it. I think it was called Metal Gear Solid 2. It was an exclusive first for Xbox, a timed exclusive.
No,
where they just kind of changed.
Yeah,
they changed a couple things, and then one of the things they changed was instead of the camera top down view, it was now third person view.
No.
Yeah, it was amazing when they did that.
One thing I've always loved about Metal Gear is not the storyline, because the storyline it's really convoluted and insane, and I can't follow it at all. After part 1, I don't know what even happened. But one thing that I've always loved about Metal Gear is all the little extras they put into it. Like, for instance, in part 2, if you aim your gun at the guy, he puts his arms up.
Yeah.
If you aim your gun at his crotch, he covers his crotch or it starts shaking or something.
Yeah.
And you get like things out of it, like little things like that. It doesn't have to be in the game, right? But the fact that it's there is so interesting. It's so unique. I love that.
Yeah. I thought those little quirky things. Yeah. One thing, and this is a little perverted, but one of the things I liked in Metal Gear Solid was when they you can go around and find the posters of the the sexy Japanese models. Oh my god, because you can either collect them or take the photos of them. I can't remember. Or
you can knock on them.
Yeah, or if you looked at it long enough, you would like say something or something like
I didn't know that.
or like
How long were you looking at them?
Long enough. Let's just say that. Long enough. But yeah, dude, I just loved Metal Gear. Yeah. That's probably my favorite game.
If you could knock on that game, like, to distract enemies.
Yeah.
And if you knock on the poster's boob, it goes, instead of duk duk duk, it goes boink boink boink.
I think I remember that. Yeah. Oh my god, dude. That game was that game was ahead of its time. That game was ahead of its time. No, if they continued making that Metal Gear, yeah. But Metal Gear Solid 5 was so far from that, dude. I don't think they should have ever made it. When they first said it was open world, I was like, "Fuck yeah, open world."
What's the storyline?
I don't fucking know.
Why are there?
I couldn't tell you.
Like those glowy guys.
Why are there the glowy guys? Why are there fucking orphans? Why are there?
There were orphans.
You know, the kids that you have to like rescue in one of the missions.
Oh yeah.
That was so. I'm like, what the? Anyway. I mean, like I said, I like the game, but it was completely far from what Metal Gear truly was.
Yeah. So
for obvious reasons that know the history. For people that know the history.
God, what was the question again? The original question that we were trying to answer?
Does the gaming
Why is Metal Gear Solid good for gaming?
Does the gaming franchise need to come to an end, or is it
or
good?
A reboot's good?
Or a reboot's good? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I think reboots are really good as long as they offer something new. Now, I will say I love Gears of War, and I would consider Gears of War 4 a reboot to the series. But I would say this, it is completely unnecessary. And it's because Gears of War 4, as much as I like the game, I had fun playing it, I don't think it added anything new. I really don't. I think it was the same exact game. It was kind of like Star Wars, where I enjoyed watching the new Star Wars movie. I thought it was really good. But it didn't add anything new. It's kind of like almost like watching the old Star Wars movies all over again, right? With new special effects and like kind of a new story.
Kind of like the same storyline,
Yeah.
searching for the last Jedi
Yeah.
to emerge and conquer over. Yeah, totally. I see.
Same thing with Gears of War. Like the gameplay, but in this case, the gameplay is totally the same. I like that there's a more human story in this Gears of War 4, but I wish they would do something more to push the series forward. When Gears of War first came out, there was nothing else like it. Right?
No.
This game was totally unique. Where you all of a sudden, instead of just running through and gunning and shooting, you had to take cover.
Yeah.
Which is unheard of before, right?
Yeah,
And nobody in the game did that. And it was so successful because of that. And it brought this whole new level of teamwork to multiplayer. But unfortunately, this Gears of War 4, it feels too much like the old game. And so I would say, as much as I love Gears, I think it's time to retire.
Well, this
that
is the only
franchise.
Gears that's on this current gen, right?
Yeah.
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 Well, that's why they brought it. You know, they have to see how it's going to do.
Yeah.
Maybe they won't make any more. I mean, is there any rumors of further development? And...
Oh, I bet you there is. They started a whole new studio to make Gears of War games called Coalition.
Oh, well then, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. And the other franchise I'd say it desperately needs to be retired is Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I don't...
It's final.
yeah.
I mean, it's a Final Fantasy. How many times is it going to be final?
But that's like an anime, dude. Animes last forever.
Yeah, and it's the same storyline over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was interested in playing the most recent Final Fantasy.
the one with the emo guys in the car.
Yeah, because they like open world, real time battles, and I looked at a couple of gameplay footage of the battles, and it looked really cool. But I never got around to it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a loved series, at least in
Yeah.
Japan, for
Oh,
sure,
totally. And
for
here
sure.
too.
Like they're not gonna retire that over there in fucking
No.
Japan. If anything, they'll be like, "Fuck you, Americans. We'll just take it back for
Yeah.
ourselves." So,
Did you see the newest addition to Final Fantasy?
no.
Final Fantasy hanging with your bros. So basically, they took. I'm not even making this up. I'm not making this up.
Final Fantasy hanging
So,
with your bros?
Yeah, imagine this. It's not called that, but this is what the game. This is what the game is. Imagine a game where you take those weird emo kids from the last Final Fantasy game,
Uh huh.
and you put them all in a setting where they're all like just camping,
Uh huh.
and they go fishing,
Yeah.
and they talk with each other,
Yeah.
and that's the game. I'm not making this up.
Wait, that's a real game?
That's the actual game. the
What?
Final
Is
Fantasy
this in
game.
Japan only?
No, it's here in the US. It was in our
What?
last E3.
Oh, so it's not released yet.
Not released yet, but it was in the last E3. It's the game they're making.
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy.
Oh my
And they're
God,
just hanging
dude,
out
what
with this weird, like suicidal emo kids.
What the hell?
I don't know.
But you're only camping, or what? Are you doing other stuff?
I don't know. Maybe you're hanging out in the mall. I don't know what emo kids do.
What the fuck, dude? Those Japanese people are weird, man.
Yeah, when I saw that preview, I thought it was like I saw it. I can remember like because I watched like the Xbox, the Nintendo, the Sony, the like all those games.
Yeah.
And the Sony, I think, was showing it. And when they showed it, I thought it was a joke. I'm waiting for I'm waiting for them to be like, and here's what really is gonna happen.
Wait. When was this E3?
It was this last E3,
When was it?
June, I think.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it wasn't on April, was it?
No, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was in June. But my God, I couldn't believe that was an actual thing. Oh,
That's
actually,
weird,
here's
dude.
another franchise, Crackdown.
Crackdown.
So I played a couple of the.
Aren't they
Crackdown
about to
games.
come out? They keep on.
They keep coming out with a new one.
But
yeah.
they keep on
Yeah.
delaying it.
Yeah,
It's had like a dozen delays now.
I think it's having so many issues because of the poor reception. So what every person that I've seen said about this game that's played it, what they said was this: the game plays really fun, like the old Crackdown. It looks bad, and that was going to be their flagship 4K Xbox Scorpio game.
What?
But it looks bad. The graphics just don't look good.
Yeah, it looks very low poly.
It looks
Flat,
cartoony, it looks
flat,
plain.
muted textures with no detail.
And the explosions don't even fit because you see these explosions in this cartoony world. Explosions look totally real, and they stand out so much because they don't feel like it fits in. It feels like one of those special effects you get on your
Yeah.
iPhone when you take out like that app.
Uh-huh.
You do a special effects app or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and you picture that's what it looks like. Yeah, it just doesn't look like
That's probably what they used. Hey, I got this good app. We can add some effects, guys. Like I saw a most recent video, probably the latest one with the most gameplay, and it just looked like a old game.
Yeah, it doesn't look fun at all. It doesn't look very good. Nothing
Yeah.
about it screams awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Are they still trying to do that though off their cloud system? or something like that.
If that is, it's going to be one of 2 games that use the cloud: Forza and this.
Wow.
Which was touted so heavily. The cloud will change everything. I was an evangelist for you, Microsoft. I kept talking about how awesome the cloud is going to be.
Fucking, like a year, maybe 2 ago, you're like, dude, once the cloud goes up, it's going to dominate PlayStation. I'm like, fuck you, dude. I was like, dude, it's never going to come. And where is it at?
Right. Where is it at?
I think I hear.
The only thing the cloud gave us was drivatars, which are, I guess, okay. Whatever.
Drivatars.
Anyway. So
are they for Forza?
They are.
Oh my god! How did I know, dude? Another Forza reference. God damn it.
Anyway, in closing, I just want to say one last thing. Microsoft, please, I beg you, make that Halo game. Make that Halo game a reality, because that thing sounds awesome. I came up with it, so if you want to hire me, that's even better. I also hire Victor.
Yeah, hire and John if we can find him.
John, he won't talk to you guys. He never talks. Is he mute?
You know what? I never bothered to ask.
Has he ever said anything?
No.
How do we meet him? Okay, anyway.
I don't know. I thought he was here when I showed up.
Yeah. God. Anyway.
Well, thanks for tagging along in episode 3, PAXP. And catch us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, TuneIn.
And possibly Google Play if we figure that out.
And Instagram and Facebook if they'll let me access my account again, fucking bastards.